Yeah. So
Ready? Go ahead. All right. Well, cheers, Jerry.
cheers, Erin. Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. I am actually celebrating my 5-year birthday here in real estate, which means I met you right before I started.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's a big thing. And what was wild is I had gotten my license and started in 2021, which was like gold rush, I feel
Yes.
like, for real estate. So it was wild to start during that time. And what a ride it's been for 5 years. We went from like the craziest market to what I have heard was the hardest market in 20 years, the last couple of years.
I would agree with that. We called 2021, those were the Audubon years.
Okay.
And then 2022 was driving Miss Daisy years
Okay.
because we had a record 7 rate increases in a 9-month period, which is historical. It's never done that before.
Wow.
And so I'm on year 34. I've seen all markets, and I would say 2022 and 2023 was more difficult than 2007 and 2008
Wow.
because there were still people out buying in 2007, 8. They were looking for a deal.
Okay.
No one was looking for a deal with interest rates so much high with no
Right.
warning.
Yeah.
And that was the issue with those years.
Definitely. Well, we certainly felt it in the industry. And now going into 2026, what has the year been like for you and your team?
Well, super optimistic about 2026. The last 2 weeks has been my busiest 2 weeks of the last 3 years.
Wow.
So we're starting to see interest rates come down.
Okay.
And I've been saying this for a long time, but we're well below 6% on pretty much all loan programs.
Okay.
And I think there's a pent-up demand because, there hasn't
Yeah.
been a lot of transactions going on. And then we had an election, in 2024.
Yep.
But I think people are finally saying, hey, rates are coming back down.
Yeah.
And inventory is always going to be an issue
Right.
on it, but let's take advantage of it now before rates even go down more.
And as for, what I've been seeing in the market kind of echoes it. It's been a crazy spring here in Portland. Anything on the kind of the core of Portland, mostly east side, some of the west side has been going crazy. It kind of felt like 21 and 22 all over again for competing offers. But what's interesting too is I think that people have gotten used to rates where it was such a big shock
Yeah.
to the system when rates went up from where they were all-time lows. So now people are like, okay, they are what they are. If I'm able to do it and it makes sense, let's go now. And you do have pent-up demand, especially those who bought in 2020 or refied in 2020.
Right.
They're finally going, you know what? I need a different location, maybe a different house size. My family's grown. I need to downsize, all of those things. So you're just getting a lot of buyers in the market, but not enough inventory. So that creates that competition. So it's been busy.
Couldn't agree with you more because 40% of the country is at 375 and below.
Wow.
And so when those rates went up to 2022 above 7.5%, that's a stretch to upgrade that house an extra 800 square feet. Or if there's a new addition to the family, you want another bedroom and bathroom.
Right.
Well, that payment is pretty substantial going from 375
It
to
is. Yeah.
7.5, but it's a little easier to handle now that we're below 6% on it.
Yeah.
That it's not so much of a stretch if someone's looking to upgrade their house or get a little more square footage, change neighborhoods, so to speak.
So speaking of, the political climate, I get asked often, are people holding off, with international and even national headlines changing drastically every day? Are you seeing, how is that affecting rates essentially? Is that having a big swing every week? What are you noticing there?
It's a great question. So keep in mind is usually bad news is good news for interest rates on it. But the last week, it hasn't been so good for rates because besides what goes on in the bond markets and stocks so far, when you have international conflict on it, it just has people to pause a little bit.
Yeah.
And so this week has not been good for interest rates,
Okay.
but over the last 2 months, interest rates have been really good as well. And I think people just take a step back and it depends on the individual, like, when's the perfect time to buy? And I know you get asked that question a
Oh my
lot.
gosh,
And
all the
so
time.
the perfect time to buy is when you're ready.
That's what I say.
But, you and I have been talking, we've done quite a few of these interviews before, like that window of a buyer's market is closing and closing quickly.
Yeah.
On there.
Definitely agree.
I've been advising clients, and then we have a new Fed chair coming in. And so it's been pretty well documented that they plan on lowering rates because we have midterm elections coming up in November.
Oh,
So there's a 6-month window for that rate environment to really be favorable for this administration to say, hey, we lowered interest rates.
Okay, that is interesting. It's so fascinating to me how politics plays into mortgage rates, which in turn affects real estate. And it's kind of fascinating to see it play out. But yeah, Portland market, spring, going crazy. I'm glad things have been so busy for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we're
Absolutely.
excited about. We've been waiting.
The last maybe 6 months or so, what has been the most interesting transaction that you have been a part of?
It's always challenging when your clients say, "Hey, I want to go non-contingent on an offer," and they haven't sold their
Oh,
property yet.
yeah.
And so we had a couple that they wanted to go non-contingent on an offer. Their current house is great; they've got plenty of equity, but the house that they loved was getting multiple offer situations.
Okay.
And so what we were able to do is do a home equity line of credit to pull out some equity for their down payment, but also to pay off their car, which that payment was around $700 a month.
Oh, wow.
And that allowed us to qualify for the new purchase.
Okay.
And because you have to qualify with both mortgages and have enough equity for the down payment and closing costs. And then once they moved in, they put their house on the market. They end up getting an offer on it
Great.
almost for exactly for the appraised value that we did for the home equity line of
Fantastic.
credit. So we were able to get a win in a market that was competitive and they hadn't sold their house yet.
That holds a lot of people up. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people that are going, well, I need the equity in my house. I have to sell before I buy. So that's why I always say it's so important to talk to a great lender up front before you even start saying, I can't do this, because there are some really creative options. And then, having the experience you have, all the different ways that this thing can pan out, maybe a HELOC. I love the idea of paying off the car loan, getting rid of that, and then being able to make that happen.
Well, and you've heard me say this many times, it's never too early to have a plan in place.
Yeah.
Because when you go show them a house and it's the perfect house for them, guess what? It's the perfect house for 4 other people.
Right.
And so then you have to go see. It's always nice to have the plan in place first
Absolutely.
versus then, oh, this is the perfect house. I better start my pre-approval process.
Yep.
It's too late by then.
That's what I'm telling people. I always tell people is, it's just as important to talk to me as an agent, talk to a lender. You have to go in with pre-approval these days. And if you're going to compete, you need to have the best offer possible. That's why it takes a great team. It takes a great team.
Well, and I know we talked about this too, some of the things you look for in a mortgage lender as well. A lot of times, whoever that team leader is the face of the team, but there's so many valuable team members that are behind there as well.
Yes.
I've got a production partner who's been with me for 13 years. My loan processor's been with me for 40 years. My marketing director's been with me 15 plus years.
Yeah.
So I think when you're looking for a mortgage lender, also take a little deeper dive and ask those questions.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about your processor. Do you have a mortgage partner on this as well? Because it's really a team collective to get to that result.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always recommend talk to a local lender that knows the market. You have such great relationships with other agents in the market that makes such a difference, especially for a town that really values relationships and knowing, for you to be able to call the other agent and say, hey, I've gone through my client's finances, they're pre-approved. That agent knows you, they know how capable you are, and they know and feel confident with you as their lender. That's huge. But also as an agent, being able to reach out to you on nights and on weekends, because that's generally the only time I'm making offers. I'm not making them.
Yeah. At 9 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Very rarely. I need things moving quickly, and it's so valuable for me to be able to reach out to you to say, hey, Jerry, we found the perfect house. Here's what it is. Can you run some numbers? Can we get a new pre-approval and submit it with the offer? It makes my life so much easier. It's the best thing for the client.
It is just a standard practice for us on every pre-approval to call that listing agent. And you would be surprised because obviously I've been doing it a long time, so I know a lot of the agents, but sometimes I might not know the name, but hey, I've heard you worked with so-and-so on it.
Great.
And I'm just surprised that is not common practice in our industry.
Yeah.
But I want that listing agent to know that our client has a team to support them behind there, because the offer getting accepted is just when the work starts.
Oh, exactly.
We got to get through inspection. We got to get through appraisal.
Yeah.
So just know that that's just a standard practice for us to do.
I love it. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, Jerry, you've been in the mortgage industry for over 30 years.
Yes.
We don't need to discuss more than that.
Yes.
So what is one loan program that you see people don't take advantage of enough?
Because I don't get it asked very often, but I already know what it is. It's the FHA owner-occupied duplex program.
Oh, tell me more.
You can get in and build your real estate portfolio with a 3.5% down payment.
Okay.
Seller can pay up to 6% towards closing costs.
Wow.
So basically you're coming in with your down payment. You can have a 620 credit score.
Okay.
You can be out of bankruptcy after 24 months,
How?
but you have to live in there for
Okay.
12 months. And then after that, hopefully in 2 to 3 years, we're at that 80% threshold or 20% equity. We
Right.
refinance it, take it out of FHA, and then you can go do it again.
Oh my goodness.
But the critical piece is you have to live in the unit. For your intention is for the first 12 months.
So you live in the unit and you rent out the other unit?
Yes, and it pays half of your mortgage.
That is,
And it's not being utilized, Erin, but it's for that perfect buyer out there that says, hey, Erin, I want to own 10 rentals in my lifetime.
right.
What a great way to accumulate it with a good leverage loan
Yeah.
on it, low down payment, seller pays the closing cost,
Okay.
and then we continually upgrade every 2 to 3 years.
That's some secret sauce right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. I don't get
Yeah.
asked very often, but I knew what it was.
Okay. We're definitely foodies here in Portland. I
Yes.
have to ask, it's also Portland Restaurant Month. Favorite restaurant in Portland?
Oh, there's so many good choices,
it's
but
really
like
hard.
when people come to town
Yeah.
from out of town, first time to Portland, I said, you got to go to the Ringside.
Oh, Ringside.
You know,
Classic Ringside.
waiters in tuxedos.
Yes.
Jim, the bartender, he did recently retire, but he had been there for 34 years. And I just think they always do a great job.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I'm super excited about tomorrow. I'm going to Damian Lillard's new
Oh, I've heard about that.
sports bar,
Yeah,
upscale,
yeah.
done with the Benson
On-
honorable mention.
Okay.
But yeah, the Portland food scene here is unprecedented.
So good.
It's so good. Well, Erin, now it's my turn.
Cool.
The proverbial question.
Oh no.
What is your favorite Portland restaurant?
That again, so hard because it really depends on like the day, and we get really spoiled here in the Portland food scene. Let's see. A few months ago, I actually went to Loose, which is an Italian, like the cutest Italian restaurant in Southeast Portland. It is tiny. There was about 6 or 7 tables in there, and it was just perfectly done Italian classic. I felt like I was in Italy just by the feel of it, the menu, the food was incredible, super fresh, but ask me again tomorrow and I may have a different answer.
Well, great answer. That just
Thanks.
means we got to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Erin. Oh,
Come on,
come on.
let's talk mortgages.
Come on.
Just your favorite spot.
Yeah.
Hi.
All right.
All right, we have a little Dexter appearance here in
Yeah.
Dexter the Wonder Putt.
Yep.
But Jerry, I just want to say thank you so much. I have just always enjoyed your passion. I don't know that I've met anybody as passionate about being a mortgage lender than you. But I always learn so much. So thank you so much for sharing everything today. And for buyers who are looking for a lending partner, an expert in the field, and somebody who can really give them an edge in this market, definitely reach out to Jerry. Jerry and his team have your back for sure, and to work through the most complicated of situations as well.
Well, I appreciate it, Erin. It's been 34 years and I have no plan to stopping. I feel blessed that I found this career.
Yeah.
I'm still passionate about helping buyers, especially first-time buyers. So I always appreciate the invite and the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And this guy here is just a furry little friend.
He's the best.